It has been a while since I've done an update and uploaded it. I've attempted a few and they have not succeeded. Either were too rambly or just by the end of it, I think my own self realization through the discussion being, presented led me to understand that it was pointless to share. And in some cases, it just works out better due to circumstances. So, this is a personal life update. I'm smoking a Bali High clove cigarette. I tried these out. I should have got the specials like I normally get. These are not as good. But I think they're serving the purpose. I don't like the fact that there's flavor. Sunday I called in sick with this cold. I had it for a couple of days where I was able to keep it so that I really wasn't having any expectoration or coughing or sneezing or anything in the presence of customers and keeping my hands clean. In this way, especially given the fact that it's predominantly outdoors and they say step inside and I could say no thanks, there's been no need to wear a mask. I've been not touching food. I've been, working in the sanitization process but not breathing on stuff while doing it. But got to the point before I went to bed and when I woke up that the sneezing and coughing and hacking was almost uncontrollable when it would come. I had to wipe snot off of Samira. So, because I couldn't get to a roll of toilet paper. I mean, I have one sitting at hand at a position anywhere that it needs to be depending on, the time or what I'm doing. And even there, I wasn't able to get it in time. And so being up at somebody's doorstep with a roll of TP in your hand is not acceptable when you're doing food delivery. So I called in Sunday. I actually had to reason and convince the manager why this was a legit thing. What I have is this basic rhinovirus. I've been through these colds before. This progresses the exact same as the ones I've been through. And no, this is not the same thing as the coof. I had that in October 2019, and I've had several of the variants come through me. This is not the same. This is just a old school head cold. The phlegm is mostly from postnasal drip, but my lungs are sensitive, so I am periodically having a clove to make sure that there's no infection in there, while also not overdoing it. I've been smoking fewer cigarettes anyway, because of this. So, it'll be nice to cut back on my tobacco use. Taking 2,000 milligrams vitamin C once a day. I also have extra vitamin C in the form of canning citric acid that I'm adding to hot toddy and tea and such. Making tea right now, but I've taken the vitamin C recently, so I'm not going to add anything to this. Plus, the last time I added too much and it was really sour. Drank it, but yeah, it was sour. And periodically, a little dab of old black velvet for sinus clearing. I guess is probably the main thing, and also it kind of helps soothe the throat. So I'm thinking that'll be on this one. Just waiting for the tea to steep. Sleep pattern. I am napping extensively, often waking up to what are you doing? Waking up to clear my sinuses and throat and like use the restroom, get a nicotine fix, and then drink water, go back to bed. Literal bed rest, chicken soup, chicken and rice. I bought some soup cans so I wouldn't have to actually prepare anything. I've got one more can left before I'm going to start making, my own homemade stuff. I have until Thursday when I go back to work in the evening to get better. So that is what I'm doing. There's a lot of craziness going on in the world. And something I'm noticing, without getting into any particular topics, even people who are thought of as trustworthy, someone that you can watch and you know, like a fact checker of the fact checkers kind of thing. I noticed that Tim Pool hasn't mentioned a thing about the horses in Ottawa. I actually tuned out of the show because the conversation was all about Russia and Ukraine, and I'm not sure how actual that situation is. I think Ukraine is where they're testing out a national divorce, where Russia is recognizing certain separatist areas of Ukraine, and Ukraine is apparently not really arguing it. I don't know, or maybe they are, but that is what the whole thing is going to be over, with us backing Ukraine. Um, Stop it. Come here, babe. Come here. Come here. You can do it. Ooh. Hello. So yeah, this one was on me, and I had a sneeze. So apparently my cat allergy is much more effective in this way as well. I tell you, it has been so many years since I have had one of these rhinoviruses. So many years. And I'm not saying it to be like, oh, this is the worst. It's really not that bad. It just has been a long time since I've had one of these. As a kid, I had these a lot. I don't know how well you can see it, but my nostrils get very dried out and cracked. I've got lotion I've been applying, but it's still a lot of dead skin. Started on this side the evening that I did the gun cleaning video, and I think the chemical fumes of the two types of oil and the nail polish, and my tendency to nose breathe, led to that, and cold outside, and the heating method in here makes it very dry. Then I got a nosebleed that then led to a sinus infection that now spread to the other and moved down into the lungs a little bit. This all I have dealt with many times before, so this is where I'm at. I got several days off. I'm resting extensively. I am trying to relax as much as possible, even though the world is being some wacky stuff. Very interesting thing happened. Switched over to Brittany Venti. Noticed that she was online and was not watching Tim Pool. And we all, in that group, several hundred people, watched the dude do a kind of dramatic reading of a letter sent to him from Chris Chan. And this person who, boy, you don't want to know why he's relevant right now, nonetheless wrote a very interesting possible spiritual self-actualization awakening Akashic record blurt, or some kind of archetypal, or you might say demonic possession, but directly resembling some kind of offspring of Barbelo from the Gnostics. Very weird stuff. Somebody made a super chat that said something to the effect of, that dude was an example of somebody the internet could have helped, and instead they completely missed the chance. Dude was only ever trolled. He's initially famous for a comic that has very interesting symbolism to it that was not well received, and people were extremely mean. And if the people had actually looked into what he was saying, they would have seen that maybe he had a really interesting thing going, was onto something, and could have been saved perhaps. And instead what happened, which I'm not going to talk about, now he's in prison sending letters of this nature, which was just it was legit magic. Dude had a casting outburst of some sort. A spell was made, you know, and the consequences of which I have no idea. But yeah, that was interesting. Um, Weather's been warm. Um, it's nice enough out. I think I can actually vent some windows and get a little bit of fresh air in the house. Work's been good. Not really any complaints. And I mean that. The cheapest honey on the shelf was, for its amount per unit or whatever, was organic raw honey. I don't know if it is unstrained or whatever, or if they just put the same honey I'm used to. I must say my chicken and rice is better than their chicken and rice. Their chicken and rice came out of the can as a chunk. The rice had absorbed most of the broth. I'm not even going to ruin that with whiskey. I'm just going to do a shot. Yowza. That's what medicine looks like. I am my own doctor. That's the problem. If anybody ever says you need to have a note to come back to work, what am I supposed to do? Sign a piece of paper that says Rob can go back to work? I'm my own doctor. I don't practice on anybody else. So that's not a legal issue. I'm my own doctor. Nobody knows me better than me. You don't need to see that. So, I feel like a crazy Ivan pivot has happened in the cultural mentality or the narrative or whatever it is that we're supposed to be paying attention to. Even people that claim not to pay attention to it or to do they end up doing the opposite of it, which means you are still being guided by it. That has had some kind of a cut into something completely different. So, yeah, I'm recuperating. Unfortunately, there's very little else to catch other than these stressful current events, which I'm trying to stay low stress so I can get a hold of a cold. Um, I don't know. I'm probably gonna spend a little more time playing video games and maybe listening to music and not so much. I don't know. I'll probably find some long form content that doesn't pertain to current events. It's not that I'm cutting out completely, but I need to get better from this cold, and it's not going to change anything. I'm already seeing where it's going. There are so many fronts. It's about to get hairy, I think, but at the same time remain forcefully civil. Remember, it is called inverted totalitarianism, and if people just stop doing what they're supposed to do, the world can move on without it. But There is a U.S. trucker convoy. I don't know how legit it is. I don't know what the response from our government's going to be. That could cause financial hardship in America as things get clogged down. If they get a sufficient number of specific actual truckers out that aren't otherwise carrying stuff, there are going to be slowdowns and shortages. And you can't blame them for it. You have to blame the people that they are protesting against. That is the important part. Knowing this, I wish everybody the best of luck. I'm going to be out here for 3 days, and I'm hoping that when I get back to town, that people are not psychotic from being on edge. And I don't think that it's anything more here than it is anywhere else. If anything, it's less here than anywhere else. But it's going to be like that everywhere. Stay frosty.